Beneath the waves of Earth's prehistoric oceans, there lurked a predator so massive, so terrifying, that even today its name echoes like a legend: Megalodon. Imagine a shark 3 times longer than the largest great white, with jaws strong enough to crush the bones of a whale. For centuries, scientists and storytellers have painted Megalodon as a solitary hunter, an apex predator ruling the seas alone. But what if the truth is far more chilling? New evidence and daring theories suggest that these giants may not have hunted in isolation. Instead, like modern-day orcas, they could have worked together, strategically, ruthlessly, and with terrifying efficiency. Picture the scene. A pod of megalodons circling, cutting off escape routes, driving whales and large prey into shallow waters before delivering the fatal strike. One megalodon is terrifying. A pack? Unstoppable. This idea flips our understanding of prehistoric oceans upside down. It raises haunting questions. Did cooperation give Megalodon an evolutionary edge? Did teamwork allow them to dominate for millions of years? And could the echoes of their behavior still be seen in the hunting strategies of today's marine predators? In this video, we dive deep into the fossil record, scientific debates, and the chilling possibilities of how Megalodon truly ruled the seas, not as a lone monster, but as part of a deadly pack. The world 23 million years ago looked very different from today. Continents were still shifting, ocean currents were changing, and the seas teemed with life larger and stranger than anything we know now. It was the Miocene epoch, a golden age for marine giants. The oceans were filled with massive whales, some growing longer than buses, alongside enormous sea turtles and early ancestors of modern dolphins. But swimming in those same waters was a predator that dwarfed them all. Megalodon, the giant tooth. A shark that could reach lengths of 18 to 20 meters, 3 times longer than the largest great whites alive today. Its teeth alone were bigger than a human hand. They were serrated blades, designed to slice through bone and flesh with terrifying ease. The bite force of Megalodon is estimated at 40,000 pounds per square inch. That's strong enough to crush the skull of a prehistoric whale in a single strike. These oceans were not peaceful. They were battlegrounds, filled with creatures constantly hunting, fleeing, and fighting for survival. The whales of the time, though massive, were vulnerable. They had only just begun diversifying into the ancestors of today's blue whales, sperm whales, and humpbacks. Against a solitary megalodon, even a whale calf stood little chance. But what if multiple megalodons attacked together? The balance of power in the sea would shift completely. Fossil evidence tells us these sharks were widespread. Their teeth have been found on every continent except Antarctica, showing they dominated nearly every ocean on Earth. Imagine diving beneath the waves of the Miocene seas. Sunlight filters through the blue water, revealing schools of fish scattering as shadows pass overhead. A giant sea turtle glides past, its shell scarred from predators. Nearby, early dolphins leap through the waves, unaware of the danger lurking just beyond sight. Then, the shadow grows darker, larger, and longer. A shape like a submarine, but alive, cutting through the water with relentless force. The ocean around it seems to quiet. Other creatures sense its presence and scatter, for they know instinctively that a hunter has arrived. This was the daily reality of the prehistoric seas. A world where survival was never guaranteed, and the Megalodon ruled supreme. But here lies the mystery. Was Megalodon truly the lone king of the oceans? Or was it a strategist, cooperating with its own kind to unleash terror on a scale we can barely imagine? The answer may reshape our entire understanding of predator behavior in Earth's history. And it begins with one haunting question. What happens when giants hunt together? To understand how Megalodon may have hunted, we must first study its body. A predator's design reveals the strategies nature built into it. Megalodon's teeth are its most famous feature. Triangular, serrated, and up to 18 centimeters long, they were like knives built for both cutting and crushing. Unlike the smooth teeth of many sharks today, Megalodon's serrations acted like saw blades. They could slice through thick whale blubber and shear bone into fragments. Each jaw carried nearly 300 of these blades. Arranged in rows, they were constantly replaced, ensuring the shark always had fresh weapons ready. Its bite force was beyond comprehension. Estimates suggest up to 40,000 pounds per square inch, nearly 10 times stronger than a great white shark. Imagine the pressure of several cars stacked onto a single tooth. That is what it meant to be bitten by Megalodon. But teeth alone don't make a super predator. Its body was built for both speed and endurance. Fossil reconstructions show a torpedo-like shape, wide and powerful. It could accelerate suddenly to ambush prey, but also cruise long distances across open oceans. The caudal fin, its tail, was massive, driving it forward with immense thrust. This allowed Megalodon to chase even the fastest marine mammals of its time. Its eyes, though never preserved, likely resembled those of great whites. Dark, calculating, able to track movement in dim waters. The sheer size of Megalodon also gave it advantages. At nearly 20 meters long, it was too large for almost any predator to challenge directly. Even giant whales like the terrifying sperm whale relative Leviathan had to think twice. A single Megalodon was already a nightmare opponent. Its sense of smell was finely tuned, detecting blood miles away. Combined with electroreceptors in its snout, it could sense the faintest movement of prey. No creature could hide, not in the open sea, not even in the murky depths. When Megalodon struck, it likely used overwhelming force. One massive bite to disable, then waiting as prey weakened before returning for the kill. This is the image science has built. A solitary juggernaut, armed with teeth, power, and patience. But if we stop here, we miss the bigger question. Was all this strength always used alone? Or could such anatomy also serve in coordinated hunts, teeth and tails moving in perfect unison? The possibility of teamwork adds a new layer of terror, because the only thing more dangerous than one monster is several working together. And so we must look beyond the skeleton, beyond the teeth, into the realm of behavior. What if the world's largest shark was also the world's most cooperative killer? For decades, Megalodon was imagined as the ultimate lone hunter, a single shadow, vast and unstoppable, gliding through the oceans in search of prey. This vision came from what little evidence survived. Fossilized teeth, scattered across ancient seabeds, painted a picture of giants roaming far and wide. Each discovery seemed to suggest independence. No fossilized packs were found, no clustered skeletons that spoke of social behavior. Paleontologists compared Megalodon to today's great white shark. Solitary, territorial, powerful enough not to need allies. Great whites patrol enormous stretches of ocean alone. They feed, migrate, and reproduce without coordinated groups. By analogy, Megalodon was assumed to be the same, only larger, a ruler that needed no companions to dominate its realm. Whale bones found with deep gouges and crushed ribs supported this view. One colossal bite could immobilize prey. Why would it need help? Even its distribution hinted at solitude. Teeth have been found on every continent, suggesting individuals scattered across vast seas. To scientists, this isolation seemed logical. An animal of such size would need massive amounts of food. Cooperation might mean competition. A single Megalodon could devour hundreds of kilograms in one meal. If multiple sharks hunted together, could the oceans even support them? This image grew strong in the public imagination. Books, documentaries, and films all portrayed Megalodon as a solitary titan of the deep. The lone juggernaut became myth, a predator that ruled by strength alone, feared by everything that crossed its path. But myths can be misleading. What if this legend of solitude hides a different truth? Some researchers began to question the assumption. They looked to modern predators, not just great whites, but also orcas, lions, and wolves. These species prove that teamwork can bring down prey far larger than any individual could manage. And in the fossil record, there were hints that Megalodon may not have been so different. The solitary legend, once solid, began to crack, and through those cracks, a new theory emerged. The pack hunter hypothesis. Jaila Chapter 3. Mua ast hawan tu. Ban komuan ming viet luon Chapter 4. The Pack Hunter Hypothesis. Gia tuyet san moi theo bay, dan chung plus, so san voi loai hien jai. Hong. Ban janoi, tiep di chat GPT janoi. Okay min viet tiep chapter 4, The Pack Hunter Hypothesis. Moaus hasanastu, fongkach tuyet min, moajoan, do tro kau. Chapter 4, The Pack Hunter Hypothesis. The idea that Megalodon may have hunted in packs challenges everything we thought we knew. It paints a picture not of a lone terror, but of a coordinated team of giants. The first clues come from unusual fossil sites. Whale bones have been found with multiple bite marks, overlapping in ways suggesting more than one attacker. Some skeletons show evidence of simultaneous strikes, different angles, different bite patterns, too coordinated to be the work of a single shark. Researchers also note the diversity of prey sizes. From small dolphins to massive baleen whales, Megalodon seem to target everything. But a solitary hunter might not risk attacking the largest whales. Working together, however, a group could corner and overwhelm even giants of the sea. Modern analogies strengthen the theory. Orcas, today's ocean-top predators, use highly sophisticated group tactics to hunt. They corral fish into tight balls, block seal escape routes, and even attack blue whales as a coordinated unit. This strategy is not about weakness, but about maximizing efficiency. Could Megalodon have done the same? If so, their size and power would make them unstoppable. Imagine a pod of these sharks, perhaps 3 or 4 individuals. One charges from below, another from the side, while a third circles to cut off escape. The prey is disoriented, trapped in a living net of teeth and muscle. No direction is safe. Every path leads to death. Some researchers argue that Megalodon nurseries provide more evidence. Fossil sites with teeth from both juveniles and adults suggest that different age groups shared hunting grounds. If young and old swam together, it opens the door to cooperative behavior. Adults could have protected juveniles, while juveniles learned hunting skills from the pack. This would not be unique in nature. Wolves, lions, and dolphins all teach their young through participation in hunts. Such behavior requires intelligence, coordination, and social bonds, qualities we rarely associate with sharks, but perhaps Megalodon was an exception. Critics remain cautious. They argue that multiple bite marks could come from scavenging after a kill, not a true pack hunt. But even scavenging as a group would require some level of tolerance. And tolerance among giants could easily lead to cooperation when opportunity arose. The hypothesis is bold, controversial, and still debated, yet the possibility is too fascinating to ignore. Because if Megalodon hunted in packs, then the prehistoric seas were even more terrifying than we ever imagined. Not a single monster stalking the oceans, but entire units of killers, striking with precision. The Pack Hunter Hypothesis doesn't just rewrite Megalodon's story. It forces us to rethink the very nature of apex predators in Earth's history. The ocean is vast, but for prey, it can become a trap. When predators work together, the sea itself closes in like a cage. Imagine a Miocene whale pod gliding through warm coastal waters. Mothers swim beside calves, while males guard the edges of the group. The first sign of danger is a shadow below. A single Megalodon rises, massive, impossible to ignore. The whales panic, clustering closer together. They believe it is only one attacker, a threat they might repel with size and unity. But then another shadow approaches from the side, and another from the rear. The sea becomes darker, heavier, filled with giants moving in silence. The whales are surrounded before they realize it. One Megalodon surges forward, ramming a calf and splitting the pod. Chaos erupts. Screams, bubbles, and flailing tails fill the water. Another shark charges from below, aiming at the underbelly of a young whale. Teeth sink in, ripping flesh, forcing blood into the current. The pod tries to scatter, but a third Megalodon blocks their path. It swings its colossal body sideways, herding them back into the kill zone. Every movement is deliberate, every strike coordinated, as though these monsters share a silent plan. The whales attempt to dive deeper, but Megalodon are waiting there too. The ocean offers no escape, only layers of death. Working together, the sharks weaken the strongest whales first. They bite, retreat, and return again. like a relentless tide. Within minutes, exhaustion takes over the prey. A once mighty whale drifts helplessly, bleeding as the sharks close in. The final strike comes swift. Jaws lock around the head, bones crack, and the body falls still. Silence follows, broken only by the feeding frenzy. But even here, order remains. Each shark takes its share, without disrupting the pack. This scene is not fantasy alone. It is inspired by how orcas coordinate against whales today, only on a monstrous scale. Cooperation makes predators efficient. It turns strength into certainty and chaos into strategy. And if Megalodon truly hunted this way, then no creature in the Miocene seas was safe. Not dolphins, not whales, not even the largest marine mammals alive. The oceans did not belong to the prey. They belonged to the pack. In nature, every behavior has a cost and a reward. For Megalodon, pack hunting may have been the ultimate evolutionary gamble. The cost was obvious: sharing food among giants. A whale carcass could feed one shark for days, but dividing it reduced the reward. Yet the benefits may have far outweighed the loss. Cooperation could bring down prey too large or too fast for a single hunter. The oceans of the Miocene were filled with giants. Baleen whales were evolving into massive forms, some reaching lengths of 15 meters or more. For a solitary predator, these whales posed a challenge. One wrong strike, one defensive tail swipe, could injure even a shark the size of Megalodon. But in groups, risk was minimized. One shark could distract, another attack from behind, while others cut off escape routes. This strategy increased hunting success, and in evolution, success is everything. By working together, Megalodon may have secured a more stable food supply. No more failed hunts, no more wasted energy chasing prey for hours. Cooperation also meant protection. Juvenile Megalodons, vulnerable to other predators, could have survived better within a group. A nursery guarded by adults would be nearly untouchable. This ensured more young survived into adulthood, strengthening the species. There may have been social learning too. Young sharks could observe, imitate, and eventually master group hunting tactics. This type of cultural transmission is rare in reptiles and fish, but in intelligent predators, like orcas and wolves, it is a powerful survival tool. If Megalodon had even a fraction of that intelligence, the evolutionary advantage would be immense. They could adapt strategies across different prey, environments, and generations. Pack hunting also expanded their dominance over rivals. Other apex predators of the time, like Leviathan, relied on brute strength and solitary power. But against a group of Megalodons, even a whale-killer sperm whale might hesitate. Strength can be matched. Strategy multiplies. Nature rewards efficiency, and nothing is more efficient than teamwork in the hunt. It may explain why Megalodon spread so widely. From warm tropical seas to cooler waters, they ruled wherever prey was plentiful. A single predator can dominate a region, but a coordinated pack can dominate the entire ocean. This is the evolutionary edge that could have kept Megalodon at the top for millions of years. Not just size, not just power, but the possibility of cooperation. And yet, evolution is never permanent. Even the strongest strategies can crumble when the world changes. Which leads us to the question, if pack hunting was such an advantage, why did Megalodon still fall? Megalodon was not the only killer in the ancient seas. The oceans have always been battlefields where apex predators test their dominance. One of its greatest rivals was Leviathan melvillei. This giant sperm whale relative could reach 17 meters and carried teeth over 30 centimeters long. Unlike modern sperm whales that dive deep for squid, Leviathan hunted large prey near the surface. Its jaws were strong enough to crush bone, making it a true whale killer. A fight between Megalodon and Leviathan must have been a clash of titans. One with the crushing bite of a shark, the other with the grappling power of a whale. But here, numbers mattered. A solitary Megalodon may hesitate to face Leviathan, yet a group could overwhelm even this monster. By surrounding and striking from different angles, a pack of sharks could tip the balance. Even the fiercest whale would struggle against coordinated chaos. Other rivals existed in earlier epochs. Pliosaurs, with skulls over 2 meters long, once ruled the Jurassic seas. Mosasaurus, the lizard giant of the Cretaceous, reached lengths of 15 meters. Both were apex hunters in their time, terrifying everything around them. But by the Miocene, those giants were gone. Megalodon inherited an ocean cleared of reptilian competition. Still, competition never disappeared. Early orcas, giant predatory dolphins, and toothed whales evolved new tactics of their own. The seas became a constant arms race. Every predator adapted. Every prey developed defenses. Every encounter shaped survival. In this struggle, cooperation was the deciding factor. Solitary power could win battles, but teamwork won wars. A pod of megalodons could dominate not just single prey, but entire ecosystems. They controlled access to feeding grounds, driving rivals away through sheer intimidation. Even if Leviathan roamed the same waters, it likely avoided large gatherings of megalodon. The risk of facing multiple giants was too great. This may explain why Megalodon remained the undisputed ruler of its age. It wasn't only size, it was strategy. Predators that failed to adapt faded into extinction. Those that cooperated carved out dominance. And in the Miocene seas, the ultimate winners may have been the Megalodon packs. Not invincible, but undeniably supreme among the giants of the deep. Though Megalodon vanished 3.6 million years ago, its shadow lingers in the oceans today. We can glimpse its possible behavior by looking at the hunters that remain. The most striking parallel is the orca, or killer whale. Orcas are apex predators that use teamwork with astonishing precision. They surround schools of fish, batter seals off ice floes, and even take down blue whales. Each individual plays a role. Some distract, others deliver the killing blow. This cooperation is not instinct alone. It involves communication, intelligence, and even cultural traditions passed through generations. If mammals like orcas can develop such strategies, why not Megalodon? The oceans often repeat patterns of survival. Even the great white shark offers clues. Though mostly solitary, they sometimes gather around rich feeding grounds without attacking one another. Some observations show white sharks shadowing each other during hunts. Not full cooperation, but the seeds of group tolerance are there. Now imagine those seeds magnified in a shark 3 times the size. The result could resemble the pack dynamics proposed for Megalodon. There is also the question of prey. Orcas today often target whales, just as Megalodon once did. The techniques are chillingly similar, isolating calves, exhausting adults, striking from multiple sides. The playbook may not have vanished, it may simply have changed hands. We also see echoes in other predators. Wolves coordinate across land. Lions synchronize in open plains. Crocodiles ambush together in rivers. The lesson is clear. Cooperation emerges wherever the reward is worth the risk. For Megalodon, the reward was nothing less than dominion over the seas. These echoes remind us that ancient strategies still shape life today. Predators evolve, but the logic of survival is timeless. Perhaps when we watch orcas in action, circling a whale with deadly intent, we are witnessing a living memory of what Megalodon once was. And in those moments, the prehistoric ocean doesn't feel so far away. Its giants may be gone, but their instincts remain alive in modern hunters. Even the greatest predators are not immune to change. For Megalodon, the end came not from rivals, but from the shifting Earth itself. Around 3.6 million years ago, the climate began to cool. Oceans that were once warm and abundant grew colder and less stable. Whale populations, once plentiful, started to migrate. They moved into colder waters that Megalodon could not tolerate. The giants found themselves stranded in shrinking hunting grounds. With fewer prey, hunger became a constant threat. Competition intensified. Other predators, like early orcas and modern sperm whales, adapted better to cooler seas. These mammals could follow the whales into icy regions. Megalodon, bound by warm waters, lost its monopoly on the oceans. Even pack hunting could not save them. Cooperation matters only when food is available. Without prey, teamwork collapses. As mothers struggled to feed young, nursery grounds became graveyards. The next generation dwindled, unable to replace the fallen. Fossil evidence shows their range contracting. Teeth, once found across the globe, became rarer, clustered in isolated regions. Bit by bit, the ocean that Megalodon once ruled slipped away. The pack hunters became fewer, then scattered. then gone. Extinction is not always violent. Sometimes it is the slow starvation of giants in a world that no longer suits them. By the time humans first walked the earth, Megalodon was already a legend. Its bones lay buried beneath the seabed. Its reign ended in silence. The fall of Megalodon is a reminder of nature's law. No predator, however mighty, is beyond the reach of change. And yet its story does not end in defeat alone, because even in death, the mystery of its behavior continues to shape our imagination. Though Megalodon has been gone for millions of years, its shadow still lingers. Few extinct animals capture the human imagination as powerfully as this giant shark. Its teeth, unearthed from beaches and cliffs, remain symbols of raw power. Collectors prize them, museums display them, and children gasp at their sheer size. Movies and novels turned Megalodon into a monster reborn. From deep-sea thrillers to viral myths, the giant shark refuses to stay buried. Why does Megalodon fascinate us so deeply? Perhaps because it embodies our primal fear of the ocean, a realm vast, dark, and unknown. The idea of a predator so large, so unstoppable, speaks to ancient instincts within us. It reminds us of when humans were prey, not masters. The possibility of pack hunting only deepens this fascination. A lone monster is terrifying, but a coordinated force of giants is almost unthinkable. It turns the sea into a battlefield of strategy, not just strength, and it makes the ocean feel like a place where no creature, however mighty, was truly safe. Even science continues to wrestle with its legacy. Each fossil discovery adds fragments to the puzzle of how Megalodon lived and hunted. Yet gaps remain, mysteries that may never be solved. And in those gaps, imagination thrives. We look to modern orcas, to ancient whales, to echoes in the fossil record. Through them, we glimpse shadows of how Megalodon may have ruled. But the truth, in all its detail, is lost to time, and perhaps that is why Megalodon endures, not just as an animal, but as a legend of fear, of power, of the ultimate hunter, a story that binds science with myth, evidence with wonder. And so when we peer into the deep blue today, part of us still asks, what if something that big still waits below?